BeastNet Podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. What do you? Everything. I mean, you got some stuff coming up. I know you got some stuff. By the time this airs, I'll be either like done with the Sisu or dead. So one of those two.
No, you can't die because we got to go
Oh,
run other races this year.
I know. Well, that's been the kind of thing I've been trying to decide when I want my schedule to be. Because right now, I know I'm doing the only ones I'm signed up for is Sisu and then Ragnar.
Okay.
But I know I'm gonna do the Dallas Drive
Yep.
Vector weekend.
Yep.
And then more than likely, I'm probably going to do World's Toughest again.
Well, I'm scheduled. Yeah, for those listeners who don't know, my name's Dave. I'm the common man of
Oh, yeah.
OCR. You know, that's
You've been
me.
on here enough times; they should know you.
Yeah, they probably should know me by now. So let's see. I've got Seattle Trifecta weekend, which I heard you probably won't be able to get to this time.
No, I'm hoping, but I don't. I mean, unless some miracle happens, I don't see it
Sure,
happening.
that's all right. So let's see. August, I've got Tough Mudder here. I'm taking a team over to Tough Mudder,
Nice.
and a bunch of newbies who've never done OCR before. They asked me which race we're doing. We're doing the 10 mile. 10 miles? I'm like, yeah, you're not turning around at the half. We're doing 10 miles. If it takes us all day, don't care. And then September, I've got Seattle. October, I've got Dallas, which is this year right before my birthday, which is nice. And then November is going to suck for me because it's going to be good, but it's going to suck. And I had this discussion with my church family here. It's like, I got 1 month this year that I'm gone 3 weeks in a row. They're like,
Nice.
wow, really? So the first weekend in November, I'm going to Greece if Spartan will do what they promised and pony up the tickets. I've already bought the tickets to get over there, but I don't have any race tickets yet, and they're working on it. And then the second weekend in November, I'm going to Boston to run the Stadion at Fenway twice. And the third weekend, I'll be in Phoenix to run the Trifecta weekend there. And then, of course, the middle of December, I'll be in Florida to run the Trifecta weekend there. So
Nice.
I'm going to try to be a little bit more cautious on the 2025 season because that'll be, oh, wait, I forgot one. September, also, I've got LA Stadion. So I'll be running like 4 different stadions this year. I already ran one at Dodger Stadium. I'll be running one at Angel Stadium. So, I've been across the country just a couple different times this year so far. So I'm gonna try to limit myself for 2025 to be mostly West Coast and like the farthest I'll go is like we'll say Dallas and Houston until like the two races I know I want to do. I know I want to go back to Florida. I know I want to do Boston Stadium again because I love that one.
Yeah.
But kind of limit the cross country travel because it gets to be. I mean, it gets wears on you after a while.
Yes.
And I wish Spartan had more stuff out here that wasn't in California. I wish Tough Mudder had more stuff out here that wasn't in California or Nevada. But we'll see how the 25 season looks. I actually considered taking a year off and just doing DECA fits, like DECA stuff for the entire year, but there's not enough events for me, and there's not enough DECA fits events, and there's certainly not enough DECA miles and DECA strongs here in the Northwest
Yeah.
to be able to do that. So, Yancey Culp, if you're listening, come on, buddy, let's go. But the biggest thing I got coming up this year, this actually in about 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, is the next trip on this Narroway Moto Ventures thing that I've been doing.
Yes.
And for those that haven't heard about this, I lost my dad in 22. We had planned these motorcycle trips to different parts of the country for a while after watching The Long Way Around with Ewan McGregor. And last year I got to do my first trip called the Narroway Around, where I went from Washington State to the Harley Museum in Milwaukee, back this way into Canada. I got to see the Utah venue for Spartan for the first time. That was trippy. Um,
Nice.
that was scary. I'm like, Dave, you gonna run it? And I'm like, nope, no, I'm good.
No, you thought about it though.
That much, Too much.
No, there's
Um,
at least a thought cross your
there
mind.
was
You're
a
like,
thought. There was definitely a thought. I'm like, I don't even got gear to do the sprint unless I'm going to go out there in jeans and a t-shirt. I'm good. Um, but that trip was about 70 or 6,800 miles in about 28 days. Uh, that was this year will be a little bit different. It'll be on one of my big cruising bikes instead of my adventure bike, and it'll be from Washington State to Chicago, Illinois, to the start of Route 66. If you guys
mm-hmm.
are familiar with that, it's the original Mother Road
Yep.
across the country, and that'll take me to eventually to LA to Santa Monica, and then I'll start heading north from there. Hope to get into Canada a little bit, but it was always my dad's dream to ride Route 66 ever since he was a kid, and I'm going to go do it. And I got 3 weeks to get it done.
That's
So I'm
awesome.
actually shortening this trip by one whole week.
Yeah.
Was gonna plan on possibly stopping and helping out at a Spartan race, but I looked at because that's what I did last year for Utah. So I stopped for 2 days and I stopped for 2 days at a Spartan race. I stopped for 2 days because it got broke down, so that was 4 days. So I think I'll be okay cutting it by a week this time around.
Yeah.
But there's no races anywhere near me, anywhere near my route this time. So I'm just gonna punch it and get over there and get out. Uh, what's gonna kind of suck is I believe it's Chicago that toward the middle of July has one of the national conventions for the Republicans or Democrats. I don't remember which one. Um, so I've got to get there, take my picture, get the heck out of Chicago as quickly as I can, and get onto Route 66.
Yeah,
Um,
I would get out of there quick.
yeah, don't matter which political party it is. Um,
Yeah, it doesn't
and
matter
then
which one it is. It's going to be bad.
it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
But then I got to go from like for me, it's going to be between we'll say 300 to 400 miles a day, depending on where I'm at.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a jaunt, but I'm gonna once I get to Route 66, then I can take a little bit extra time to stop more, see what I want to see. I've got a book that shows me all the little different sites you can see in each state, um, and once I get to Santa Monica, if I don't have much time left, I can just hit I-5 and just punch it north and get home. Um, the cool thing that I thought it was cool anyway is the day I get back is my class reunion from high school.
No.
So I am well. One of the purposes of Narroway Moto Ventures, at least for these trips, is to raise money for the Wenatchee Valley YMCA, which is something that really helped me out as a kid.
Yeah.
And folks, if you want to go, if you want to donate, you can go to narrowwaymoto.com and donate now. But we're trying to get the class to show up to the finish line on the 27th of July, and it'll be right before like our dinner, I guess, and be able to motivate them to donate because a lot of them were impacted by the Y. Um, something for our class to give back to the local community, and then uh, then I'll probably go home and shower and change and park the bike for a second, switch bikes, and head to the dinner. But it's kind of cool to be able to consolidate all that into one trip and fulfill this dream of dad's. So yeah, that's kind of my thing. If anybody's listening who wants to say hi on the route, I would love to go have lunch, have a cup of coffee, hang out with some folks. Um, I'll be leaving here the 5th of July at 9 a.m. from Wenatchee, Washington,
Mm-hmm.
and then I should arrive. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I should arrive in Chicago by like the 10th, I think, if I remember my schedule correctly. The only thing that's gonna, besides the traffic and the crime, that's gonna stink in Chicago is where the start sign is for Route 66. You got Michigan Avenue that goes east or goes north south. Adam Street goes east west, and then right here is the Art Institute of Chicago. And you got to turn the corner, and I've got to turn the corner, hit my flashers, get off the bike, take my picture, get back on the bike, turn the flashers off, and go before I get hit. So
Yeah. Gotta be quick.
pretty much, yeah.
So you start the adventure out for the game of Frogger.
Pretty much, yeah.
Nice.
That's what it'll be once I get to Chicago. The nice thing about this trip too is I learned a lot from the last trip. So I learned how to pack my bike correctly, which last
Yep.
trip I had absolutely no flipping clue. Um, and I learned how to pack the bike correctly. I'm going to be camping pretty much the entire time, about 95% of the time. So I've got all my KOA sites set up pretty much all the way throughout the trip. I've got a couple spots where I've got to stay in a motel or a hotel, like Chicago, for example. But
Yeah, I
so
don't
I'm
think I
looking
want to be
forward to
outside.
that. No, thank you. That's why there's no KOAs in Chicago. You have to like stay way north of it. And then I'll stop by the Harley Museum again just to, go in there and check it out and buy my, requisite knickknacks and
Hmm.
stuff for people back here. And then uh, the one of the cool things about this trip too is I've got a couple of Harley Davidson dealers here in Washington State. They're wanting to be part of it. So Lone Wolf Harley Davidson in Spokane and uh, Applegate Harley and Davidson in Yakima are all wanting to like be part of this. So I'm gonna go by and visit Applegate like for the end of my trip so they can do my service or my tires, and then I'll go visit Lone Wolf and they'll do the other thing that didn't get done. And then they've given me T-shirts. They'll be part of my documentary. Uh, the documentary for Narroway Around should be released here in the next couple of months. This one, hopefully, we're not going to take as long to produce because the first one, had to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
But there'll be a documentary about this trip, and there'll be social media posts all the time wherever I'm at. People can follow along at narrowwaymoto.com. They can follow along with any of the social medias, mostly Instagram and Facebook. Just look for Narrowway Moto and be able to keep up with the trip from there. And um, gonna I'm gonna bring my TRX device with me, the TRX strap,
Hmm.
uh, so I can just hook it up to a tree and just get my workout in. Because just because I'm on technically vacation, I'm on this expedition doesn't mean my workout stop. And
Oh yeah.
I highly doubt I'm gonna have time to jump into a Planet Fitness or something. But if there's one there, so
You
be
never
it.
know.
But exactly.
It's one of the things like why I don't know a lot of people will have like a Planet Fitness or something like that membership only for one other reason is showers.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because like after race, there's so many times that's one of the things I look for because I have LA Fitness and unfortunately there's not as many around, but I have LA
Right.
Fitness because I want the pool, and all
Oh
LA
yeah.
Fitnesses have a pool. But I know people that have done it like look at the race, look between the race, wherever the venue is, in the airport, and find one of the gyms along
I,
the way and just go and
I've
take a
done it.
shower.
I've done it. My adopted sister, she lives in Phoenix, and I usually stay with her and her husband down there when I raced in Phoenix. And the first time I did it, I went to Planet Fitness, kind of just outside the race venue, and went and took a shower before I went back to her house. And I walk in, she's like, "Dave, you're clean." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna come in looking like that in my race gear in your nice house."
I
Um,
can't say much. I have to North Carolina. I just drove to the airport, stopped and got something to eat on the way, and I'm like, if someone doesn't like it, don't sit next to me.
well, you had to roll out pretty soon, right? I mean, you had to like get done and roll
Yeah.
out
I
immediately.
had to get done and get to the airport and get home because my flight was like, I think 6 or 7 o'clock.
Jeez.
So,
How
I mean,
long
it
did that take you
was
to get home?
what to fly home?
Yeah,
It wasn't too bad. And it was like 3 or 4 hours.
that's not awful.
So, but I mean, I ended up like, it was one of those, I ended up calling sick to work. I wasn't going to, but I think
Hmm.
because I got delayed in Nashville because I had a connecting flight and I got
Right.
delayed in Nashville, which put me like, I didn't get home until like 2 in the morning.
That's a little late.
And then I'm like, I just messaged my boss, like, I just got home. I'm not coming in tomorrow.
How do you take that?
He's like, I get it. And I'm like, cool. So, which that's the
I
one thing
will
I got
say,
like this weekend doing Sisu. I fly in Friday like midday,
hmm.
I think at noon. Got to go to my daughter's house, get my Jeep. Because a lot of people don't know that my Jeep's still in Washington.
Oh,
Get my Jeep, go freaking get whatever shopping extra stuff I need for the race, the stuff that I'm not bringing with me, like food and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um, gonna go out to dinner with the family so I can say, hey, hi. Because you know how
Hi,
they'd
I'm
be if
here.
I showed up and didn't like, at least say hi. So we're gonna have dinner, and then Saturday the race starts, and then it's Saturday from 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. to Sunday at 9 a.m. As soon as the race is over, I'm gonna go back to my daughter's house, take a shower, and then I think we're on a plane at like 2 in the afternoon.
That's not awful. I mean, it's gonna
So,
suck, but
and then we fly back, so I'm gonna be back to work Monday because I'm taking a day off there, but then I'm also coming back in July to do Ragnar.
oh yeah.
But in Ragnar's, we fly out Thursday because the race starts Friday morning.
Oh wow.
But the other thing we're doing is I'm keeping the van that I'm renting for Ragnar,
Mhm.
and then picking up Amber. We're grabbing the last of our stuff that's still in a storage unit there, and we're driving back.
Oh wow.
So, and I've got to be back to work Wednesday. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we got 3 days to drive back
Well,
here.
if you need somebody to hop in that Jeep and bring it down to you, man, I'm game.
It's tempting. Well, my son's supposed to buy it, but I won't
Okay.
because I'm me. I won't give it to him until he pays for it and
Well,
also gets
sure.
a damn license, but because
Well,
he
yeah.
doesn't have a license yet. So he's supposed to
Mhm.
buy it from me, but I won't give it to him until he does. So it just sits at my daughter's house. In fact, I think I'm going to move it to my sister's,
Mhm.
but it's, I mean, it's nothing fancy. It's a 2007 Cherokee. So, I mean,
Right.
it's a soccer mom Jeep.
Yeah, that makes sense. You got a better car to get your kids in there.
Oh yeah. But I love that. I miss the Jeep though. I really do.
Oh,
The Jeep had, I like the Kias, but the Jeep had power.
oh yeah, kids don't
I
have the
could put
power.
my foot in that thing and it'll squeal
Hmm.
the tires and take off. The Kia will be like, "Vroom." It just doesn't have that same like,
Well, especially down there in Houston area where you got cheap gas prices,
oh yeah. I mean,
we got like crap up here.
I paid 280 to fill up this
That's
morning.
it. That's it. I quit life. I'm done.
Yeah, I
I'm
paid
out.
280 a gallon to fill this morning. So,
Oh my gosh.
and now, well, the thing is too, the whole reason I got the Forte is because the job I had before was 60 miles each way. So 120
Right.
miles, that was horrible. But
Yeah.
now I'm 22.
Oh, so you don't have the job down by the Space Center.
No, I don't have that job anymore. Now I'm up right by the airport.
Oh, okay. Very cool.
So,
Yeah,
but
for those of you who know, I've stayed at his house
yes,
for Houston
he's
race.
actually the
So
only person that stayed at my house so far. So
I
I was
will
like,
be back
oh
for
wait, no,
Houston next year, by the way.
Benton did stay. Benton came and stayed. But
Mhm.
well, and I think what we're gonna do we're trying to figure out because Dallas, I have one my good friend here, Jamie, who's I call her my stepper sister now, because
Yep.
Brian there was my stepper sister and or stepper brother, and I've got Jamie's my
Your
stepper
stepper
sister.
sister.
I almost called Brian a sister. Oh shit, no,
No, you did
but
actually.
I
But
did,
anyway, love
but
you, Brian.
Jamie, yeah. So Jamie is gonna do Dallas.
Okay.
And then Andrea's coming down to visit us
Mhm.
and then do Dallas. So I think we're gonna get like an Airbnb and just
Cool.
go over there in Dallas so that we can all go over and have a blast. So
Well, you get an Airbnb. I'll bring the steaks and stay wherever I'm staying.
well,
I
there we
don't know
go.
where I'm
Yeah,
staying yet.
we can make it work. So
Uh-huh.
we can make it all work. It's gonna be fun. Dallas is a great venue. It's a blast.
It is.
So and but see the one thing is I think after Dallas and World's Toughest, I don't think I'm basically gonna step back
Sure.
from OCR because
Mhm.
I think I'm doing Galveston Ironman again.
Okay. Is that when's that?
That's in April.
Okay. So you want to train for that?
But I think it's going to be one of those things. My friend Jamie's basically said, I will help train you, but that pretty much means like after World's Toughest in November, you're done and
Hmm.
you're only training for Ironman.
Well, it makes sense. I mean, especially when you want to complete an Ironman.
And I mean, I completed it. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a half Ironman. I completed it last year, but what a lot of people don't know, I think me and you talked about this.
Hmm.
The cutoff is 8.5 hours.
And you
I
were
was technically at 8:50.
right.
So they let me finish and I got my finisher medal, everything else. But if you look at like their website, it shows that I'm a finisher, but I can't remember it's what the little indication is. It's like I am a finisher, but not really.
Right. You want to get
I'm an
that 8.5 hours.
unofficial finisher because I went over the 8.5 hours. So I
Hmm.
want to beat that 8.5 hours. I want to crush that 8.5 hours. I want to
Oh,
get
heck
like,
yeah.
but the key is, and anybody who's done triathlons know this, the key is the bike.
Oh, yeah.
And
That
my
makes
biggest
sense.
problem is that bike's fast,
Hmm.
but I have a fear of getting down into Arrow and staying in Arrow. And that's when
That's
you're
where
leaned
you're,
way out. Yeah.
yeah.
when you're way out and you're way out in front, because mine doesn't have the normal handlebars. My bars are way out there. So I mean you're
Mhm.
out like leaned way in. And it's
That's the bike you
such
have at
a
your house, right?
yep.
Okay.
And it's such a weird feeling to be all the way out like that. So
Mhm.
and that's kind of why I'm like, so it's gonna be
Well, and
interesting.
just you're pretty adept at OCR anyway right now. So go crush that freaking Ironman. Take a half a year off, whatever, and go obliterate that Ironman.
Yeah,
And
that's my plan.
I'll see you in Houston, next
Oh yeah.
year. Um,
Which I mean, Houston, I think is before. I can't remember if Houston's before or after.
uh, yeah, I don't know. I think it's
I
after.
think it might be. I'm not sure. I can't remember. So either way, I'll
We'll
probably
find
do
out.
Houston, even if it's before, but it'll be like I did last time,
Just
where I
do it. Yeah,
basically, because I think it's before, because that's why it was so easy. I took it like I did last time, where I was just like, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna push hard. I'm not gonna because
I
at
think you're
this
right.
point, I don't want to hurt anything before the Ironman.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um,
So
I
it's
will
gonna
say
be,
this.
yeah,
I
that's
will
fine.
say this. I love the Houston venue. I absolutely love the Houston race.
That was a
That
blast.
was awesome.
The sand
The
sucked.
the sand sucked. I completely agree there. The Fayetteville was a little Fayetteville was a little tougher than I remember. Of course, when I last time I did Fayetteville was like 2018, and I could barely get the super done. And now I walked in and finished all three.
Yeah.
Uh, still not my obstacle completion rate still isn't great yet, but uh, was able to get the distance done, do the obstacles I could do, etc. I just finished up Colorado Springs, and I only got this is the second year I've done it. I've only got the first two done, the Super and the Beast. And by the time I got done with the Super and tried to mount up for the sprint, I'm like, it's 95 degrees. I'm done
Yeah.
at like 6,000 feet elevation. I'm
Oh,
already sucked down oxygen and
piece of
things like
cake.
that. Oh yeah, totally. Um, there was what was it? They for some reason put the dunk wall and the rolling mud or yeah, rolling mud in the first 2 miles of the course of all three courses. And I'm like,
Oh,
why the heck did you do that? Like, what we and of course it's probably because the way the course is designed, they probably already had those pits out there, knowing that they're on a military base. They're not just going to go out and dig pits.
yeah.
But I'm just like, why? Because we're not. So I just didn't bother with the mud obstacles with those three or those two rather, because I'm just like I'm not going to get that gross like and have that on me the rest of the day. But
Yeah.
by the time the beast was done, it was 96 degrees. And I'm hearing comments about, well, we're closer to the sun here in Denver. Technically, we're in Colorado Springs, but okay. But Colorado was tough. It was tough on me, and I remember getting done with the beast. I went to Walmart, got some groceries because I'm on a special diet now, and had my salad and sardines or whatever. I remember coming into the motel, putting the bag on the floor, walking in the bathroom, taking a shower, getting out of the shower, going to the bed, and passing out.
Hmm,
The
that's good
bag
for
really
you.
sat there for like 10 hours until I put it away the next morning. Um, but will I come back and do it again next year? Yeah, I really
Yeah.
want to beat that course.
And
um,
that's what makes great, for like people like us. I mean, we're not, we mentioned this before, we're not the epitome of, health and
we're
fitness
just
and all
common
that.
man. We're just
Yeah,
common
we're
men.
common men. We're common men. Um, which becomes one of those things that like people talk so much like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, I completed the course. Shut up.
Yeah, pretty much.
I did
The
what I beat who I was a year ago. That's what
well,
matters.
that's the problem I run into with, and I'm not dissing Joe like we've talked about before,
Hmm.
but kind of the error that he kind of comes off with is, you know, well, how do I say this? He's got a point that weak-minded people usually are the result of not doing anything hard, whether
Yep.
you're a man or a woman. And I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
What I don't agree with is, when folks like him, and he's done this before, so I'm not trying to call him out specifically, but they'll look at somebody like me or you and go, "You're just a fat kid." In their mind, that's what they're thinking.
Yep.
And you're the fat kid. Well, yeah, I'm a little chunkier than a lot of people are, but don't eat junk food. Don't eat, just go salad. Like, okay, dude, you're not my doctor. You're not my nutritionalist. You don't know what's wrong with me or what's good with me. I will follow my doctor's advice. Thank you
Hmm.
for your input. Have a nice day. I'm not going to get to the health I want by getting the crap kicked out of me every morning at 5 a.m. I work out hard, yes, but like, there's a reason I'm saying this. Um, I can just be honest, right? Like, I can just be,
That's
okay.
what we're here for.
I got invited to go to the farm in Vermont at the end of the month. So actually this weekend. And I was, I thought that was really cool. It was supposed to be some like inviting a bunch of social media influencers, which I never considered myself that yet, but whatever. And with Joe, it's like we're gonna have a conference. Well, I know what that means. It means burpees, cold water. You're picking up stones. I know what that means.
Yeah.
Nobody else does. Well, working with his contact, I'm like, okay, this is cool. Dude, fine. I'd love to come out there. I think it'd be great. It's a couple days before my next expedition. And then they started talking about the time frames. Like, you have to be at Boston International to catch this bus that takes you into New Hampshire, where you catch another bus that goes to the airport or goes to the farm. And I'm like, dude, I'm renting a car. Oh, well, you can't do that. There's no parking. But then I got a problem because I can't. You want me to catch a bus at 7:30? I land at 7:25. I guarantee I'm going to land after 7:30.
Yeah.
That being
I
said,
mean, you
oh, go
land at
ahead.
7:20, then you got to run to the freaking baggage claim. You got to do all that. You're not making a 7:30 bus.
Yeah, so I politely, thanked Joe and thanked his employee for reaching out to me. I'd love to come next year if it's going to be offered. I want to go run that mountain. I really want to go run Mount Spartan, or in my case, walk it. I think that'd be epic. Well, you know, I started researching it, and they said, no problem, no problem at all. So I started researching it, and they said, well, there's other events going on at the farm. Like, okay, what's going on at the farm? Three things. The Mount Sparta 24-hour challenge, where you walk up and down Mount Sparta or run up and down Mount Sparta all day long. The 24-hour death, or excuse me, the 24-hour hurricane heat and the 72-hour death race are all scheduled for the same weekend.
No, so
So
you're gonna
I'm
have fun.
so I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm definitely not coming now because he's pulling a fast one.
Yeah.
Well, I listened to the what used to be the Spartan Up podcast. Now it's the Hardway podcast, whatever. And he was talking to Jack LaLanne's wife, Lala, and actually admitted on his podcast that the people that show up for this conference are going to get thrown into the death race. I'm like, peace, I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
I dodged a bullet on that one. I'm not even remotely like qualified to do the death race yet. So, um, I have a problem with people that deceive. I have a problem with people that lie and the people that bully. But it's like, just tell me what I'm going to do. You're going to invite me to your farm. Just tell me what I'm going to do. I'll show up, give my best, call it good. But
Yeah.
don't throw my butt in the death race. I'm not Yara. I'm not, I'm definitely not Yara. She's a stud. I'm not, Amelia Boone. I'm not any of these guys. I'm not a
Yeah.
Ryan Atkins. I'm just me. And I'm definitely not qualified to do the death race yet. So anyway, I avoided that
It,
one.
it's one of those ones I can see both sides. I can see the side that don't trick me, but I can also see it where he is in his mind anyway. It's a lot harder to say no to something if it's right in front of you.
That's
You
fair.
know what I mean? It's one of those things. It's like the argument I always have with food. Like,
Mhm.
it's really easy for me to say no to potato chips when they're at the store.
That's true. That's a good point.
But when they're sitting in the pantry
Mhm.
in my house, it's a lot harder to say no. So that's what his thought process is. He gets you on the farm, you're there, you're with everybody else. Now, not only is it right in front of you, what
Where are you going to go?
why not try? Where are you going to go? And now
Sure.
you've also not just that, you've also got the peer pressure of Joe in front of you and
Hmm.
every other participant sitting there going, "Oh, hey, what are you going to do? You're doing this with us, right, Dave?" Come on, Dave.
Nope. See ya.
Come on, Dave. Let's go. You know,
Well, and
and
you
I
know me, I would never quit anyway. I would be
no,
like, okay, let's roll. But just
and
the
that's it. Joe knows that too.
right. And I hope, Joe, if you're listening to this, you probably aren't, but I hope you are. If you're listening to this, I would love to come out next year. Just don't deceive me. Just say, hey, this is what I want to throw you in the death race. Okay, I'll give it a shot. I'll be totally willing to do that. Just tell me ahead of time. Don't try to trick me. And
We
flying
we
a clear across the country, where I'm coming from Washington State to Boston or to Vermont through Boston, I'm literally crossing the country to get there. So
yeah,
it's not like I'm just going to show up and go, no, I'm out. But
and that's what he's counting on.
right,
So, and it's one of those things I would love to sit down and talk to Joe. I've tried getting him on a few times. The biggest problem we have is scheduling
right,
because his scheduling, I mean, he's open during the day, and of course, I have a job. So,
right.
yeah, it makes it
Join the
it
club.
makes it
So
difficult. Yeah,
he's a busy guy, and the maybe one of these days when you have a day off or something, if that ever happens, I think it'd be a great addition here. And I love Jodison. I love his family.
Mhm.
They're good people. They've helped me out quite a bit. In fact, I'll just share this. I had a pretty significant health diagnosis. I'll keep the details to myself. Um, I'm not dying, but it's not great either. Uh, to the point where the doctor says you need to lose more weight now and now. And I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, okay, yeah, you need to accelerate what you're doing. I'm now under doctor's orders to continue racing, which is cool, I guess. Um, I mean, it sounds odd, but the first thing I did was when I got that diagnosis, I emailed Joe and CC'd Yancey, called the director of DECA, and I said, hey guys, I just need the accountability. And Joe's response was, no more junk food. And I wanted to fire back and say, well, I don't eat junk food. Oh, wait a minute. Those 3 years of
depends
taking care of, huh?
depends on what you define junk food.
Well, your typical American definition, like your donuts, your cake, whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, I just spent 3 years taking care of my dad before he passed away. Yeah, there are some times I eat like crap. I get it. Okay, yeah, makes sense. There's some stuff I need to, and I mean, my doctor was so impressed. He's like, you've done more work in the last 2 weeks or 4 weeks since I've seen you than most of my patients have ever. And
This is amazing.
I'm down 26 pounds from where he saw me last time. I'm probably up a little bit now because I've gained a couple pounds, but sugar, things are looking on a better trajectory.
Yeah,
But Yancey fired back and he's like, Dave, thanks for reaching out. Totally here to help you. Here's my personal cell number. I want you to text me every week your current weight, your resting heart rate. I want to know if you've trained 6 days a week with purpose. I want to know if you ate with purpose every week and without fail. I'm like, yes, sir. And since then, I've been texting him, and he's been relatively impressed with my progress thus far. And he's totally committed to helping me. So, God bless Joe and Yancey and the whole crew. So I never want to sound like I'm dissing them, but don't try to trick me because once my engineering brain figures out what's going on, I'm gonna be ticked.
yeah.
It may take me a minute, but
Well, and it's one of those things, like you said, with the junk food. That was the hardest part when I lost the weight before, and I'm trying to do it,
Mhm.
do it again. Um, right now, what's funny is I'm not losing the weight, but I'm changing my size
you,
because I'm doing a lot more. My chest is getting bigger, my shoulders are getting bigger,
mhm.
all of that stuff. But unfortunately, my stomach's not getting smaller. But whatever. But
It sucks.
it's diet. It became down to a lot of it was, things that I didn't think of as junk food that I kept thinking,
Mhm.
oh, this is good for me. It's healthy. It's an oat bar. It's this. It's that. And then you like start looking at stuff and you're like, this is horrible. Yeah.
My nutrition coach, Sarah Barkley, I think she's a triathlete here well, she's a CrossFitter now, and the girl's a stud. Like, she's really, really cool, but she's one of those people you look at her and like, that girl could break me. Like she could destroy me for fun. Um, and I mean that with the utmost sincerity, Sarah. You're
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, but she's agreed to be like my nutrition coach a little bit. And I'm sitting there, I'm trying to cut out sugar and cut down on carbohydrates and cut down on this and cut down on that. And she's like, okay, but that's all great. but you just went and did a half marathon race and you've had like no slow burn sugar in you. Like your body's not trying to eat your muscle. Your body's now trying to eat your muscle. Like,
Yeah.
oh, and trying to learn all that. I got depressed the other day when I went to go look at it. I'm not depressed, but down. When I looked at the thing of milk to add to my protein shakes, I turned the milk bottle around, look at the amount of sugar, and I'm like, oh my dear Lord,
Hmm?
13 grams of added sugar in milk? I know it's lactose, but come on. Um, so I'm starting to read, read the labels now. The stuff that I used to eat, that's out. I used to I still love top ramen, but that's obviously bad. Um,
Yeah, see, I can't have top ramen or a cup of noodle because I cut out salt at one point,
mhm.
and now there's so much salt. Anything that has a lot of salt in it will immediately have like the Taco Bell effect on me.
Wait, what's the
Mm.
Taco Bell effect? Oh, you
Means
go
when
to the
I eat
bathroom.
it, I need to be in the bathroom.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, that makes
Not
sense.
like close to it, literally in it. Because
In the
like the
bathroom.
second it hits my stomach's like, eject. So
Dang! Power
so and
move.
that's what happens with salt. If I have something that's too salty and too much sodium, my body will literally be like eject and just yeah.
So one of the things and I'm sure the OCR trainer Megan could talk about this more than I can. But one of the things I found is like the substitute a little bit for like, okay, I can't eat top ramen because I never added the whole salt pack anyway because it's way too much for me. But like I can substitute top ramen with rice ramen
Hmm?
a little bit. I just don't eat a bowl of it. I can substitute like salmonella. Is it salmonella? I can't say that word. Flour pasta. I can substitute that with like chickpea pasta,
Hmm?
that sort of thing. And finding those substitutions I found to be really helpful because there's only so much salad a person can freaking eat.
Yeah.
I think,
And that is the
uh,
biggest. It's the substitutions. Because like for me, it's like rice. I started
right,
substituting the broccoli, or not broccoli, but the cauliflower rice.
cauliflower.
And
Mm-hmm.
everyone's like, "Oh, that's got to be horrible." It's like rice and cauliflower. There's really not any difference,
Not except
not taste wise.
the rice has more like carbohydrates, right?
Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
less the cauliflower rice is better for you, but I mean taste wise,
Oh yeah.
rice and cauliflower take the taste of whatever you put in it.
Yeah. As long as you don't put crappy taste in there, you're fine.
Yeah, and one of my big ones too. I love chili. I love
Oh
chili,
yeah.
and one of
Heck
my
yeah.
nutritionists is like, "Chili's great for you. Just don't buy it out of the can.
No, no,
Make
learned
it."
that the hard way. Yeah.
They're like, make most of the things we like to eat are
Mhm.
great for us if we don't go buy the freaking can. If we actually make it from scratch at home, put our own ingredients in it, it's a lot less sodium, a lot less other stuff. And that
Mhm.
was one of the things I found, like, when I was working on that was, you know, just making things myself. One of my biggest changes, I mean, I've talked about it before, was coffee. I love coffee. I get
Mhm.
made fun of it at work because I bring a whole freaking pot of coffee with me at work. They're like, "We know you're from Seattle." I'm like, yeah, shut up.
Zip it.
But for me, what I do is like, because I like sweetener in my coffee. I always
Mhm.
like creamer and, a little bit of sugar and stuff. And I'm like, well, that's not good for me.
Mhm.
So then I was like, well, what else do I drink in the morning? Oh, yeah, my protein shake.
Put the
What's a
coffee in the
protein
protein
shake?
shake.
It's vanilla flavored. It's basically coffee creamer without all the crap. So I
So
just
put the
started,
protein in
dump,
the coffee.
yeah, I dumped my protein shake into my coffee.
Nice.
And now I basically get my sweetener and everything else and my protein shake at the same time
There you go.
without all the sugars and everything else. I mean, it's that whole finding, because I think it's one of those things like when I quit smoking, one of the biggest things they always told us was the hardest problem with quitting smoking is you feel like you're missing out on something.
Right.
So if you can convince your brain you're not missing out on anything, you stop craving it.
That's fair.
So, and that was kind of the thing with, the foods. When I found substitutes so I could still have you know, my rice. I could
Mhm.
still have enchiladas with rice, but it was cauliflower. Or I could still do this with rice. Or this, putting, the zucchini noodles and all that kind of stuff where I was
Those
like, oh,
zucchinis
that's,
are awesome.
and I'm like, they taste so good. And I could still have all the foods I liked just in a healthier version.
Hmm.
And suddenly the diet wasn't such a chore.
And you're not eating salad 24/7.
Yeah, and you're not eating salad 24/7. It's just finding those alternatives
Hmm.
and that was the big thing. And I found a lot of Facebook groups, and Amber was on a lot of those too. And just finding those weird alternatives that you never thought of. And you're like, I would have never thought of that. But then once you do it, you're like, oh, this is amazing. Like we cook a lot. What we did too is we did the HelloFresh
Hmm.
for like about a month, but then we
Yeah,
just
they're
kept all the
expensive,
cards.
right?
So
They're
what
not
did
cheap.
they're not. But we kept the cards with the
Hmm.
recipes on them, and then we just make a shopping list out of that, and we could buy all the things and make it.
Yeah, there you go.
So we still get the HelloFresh at it, and without having to pay all the money. So I mean,
A
it's
lot of money.
just finding those ways of making food yourself, and that's what's hard down here in Texas right now.
Hmm.
The food is so good.
Hmm. I can
Did you know
imagine.
that they can put spices and flavor on food?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know. You're in the Northwest.
Yeah, well, I live in the center of Washington State, remember?
That's
So
true.
we
So
actually
there,
have Mexican restaurants here that
yeah,
flavor food, things like that.
yeah. I
So
mean,
like downtown. Go ahead.
it might as well be England with how bland the flavor is in Seattle. Since I've
Oh
been
yeah,
here,
totally.
I'm like,
Well, it
everything has
where
spice in it, and I'm like,
depends on
this
where
is
you go
amazing.
too. But oh yeah.
Like, this is amazing. Everything has spice. This is what the hardest part though is the first thing I'm doing when I get there Friday. I'm getting freaking teriyaki because
Oh
finding
sure.
a teriyaki restaurant here around here is complete bull.
Well, there you go.
They don't do.
There's your next money making venture. Go start a teriyaki joint.
They don't make teriyaki correct down here. Did you know teriyaki started in Seattle? It's not even really an
No.
Asian dish. It was a Seattle dish.
Oh, that's funny.
That's why there's teriyaki places all over Seattle because it started there.
Wow. Well, what's gonna suck for me on the diet side is getting on this trip, this
Hmm.
expedition. Um, I'm not. So my last expedition, I had like one of my bags on my adventure bike packed full of freeze dried stuff from a place called Nutrient Survival,
Hmm.
which actually is pretty decent, like sourced freeze dried food. It tastes okay, but it's not bad. There's some of their stuff that's like, dang, okay. But so I'm not taking any of that with me. And my friend Chris Pipkin and I talked about it, and he's like, yeah, you're not going to be that far from grocery stores. So
No.
wherever you stop, just go to the grocery store, grab yourself a salad and a piece of steak or something. Come back, light your burner, take your mess kit out, fry it up, whatever, and then you're going to be at a KOA, so it's not that big a deal. And then if you have to stop at the gas station, which was my problem this last time, instead of going and reaching for that candy bar, um, if they have a like Love's gas stations, they have like a thing of boiled eggs. Grab
Yep.
grab 4 eggs, eat the eggs. They're the most you know available nutrients to your body anyway. So just grab the eggs, eat those. Get a protein shake and a bottle of water. Get back on the bike and roll out. Like, okay, that makes sense because you don't need to eat a massive amount. You don't need to carbo load. Just you know, be smart about it. And I think that's going to be my biggest change this time was I'd stop at a gas station like, I just rode 300 miles. I burned a heck of a lot of calories. Hey, I'm going to get a Reese's peanut butter cup, which is probably 50 grams of sugar between the two of them.
Yeah.
Um, and a protein shake. And then I don't drink soda pop that much except for like diet stuff, but, and then I'm gonna eat a burger. That's the thing I like it. I love Carl's Jr. because you can go there and say, "Give me the biggest burger you got," or Hardee's where you're from now. Is give me the biggest burger you got, but go ahead and take all the sauces and all the buns, all the bread off. Oh, you want to lettuce wrap it? Yes, I do. And they'll just hand you. They'll cook it up. They'll put the cheese on it, and they'll put all the veggies on it, and whatnot you want. And they'll just hand it to you and say, "Okay, here it is, lettuce wrapped." Like, cool. And
And I will say it is still Carl's Jr. in Texas. Is you got to
oh, it
go a little
is.
farther. You got to go another like state east to
Oh,
basically get to the Hardee's.
well, there you go. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. But like, like I love the chicken places in Texas, like Chicken Express. If you haven't tried that in Houston, I think it's in Houston.
There's a couple of
They're
them.
in
Yeah.
Dallas. Chicken Express is awesome. Like my friend Lexi would hug me if I said this, but I'm going to say it anyway. The Chicken Express is only in Texas, and it's the absolute best chicken I ever had. But even then, like your Chicken Express, your Chick-fil-A, Popeyes, etc. Yeah, it's chicken, sure, but what's in that breading? Are you eating protein? Yes, but what else are you eating? Do you know? Hmm, not really.
And
So,
that's the hard part, and that's one of the reasons why I like started cooking things myself. It's like
mhm.
one of my favorite things to make every Valentine's Day. I make Amber, sweet and sour chicken,
There you go.
from scratch. Like make my
Oh
own
wow.
sweet and sour sauce, everything. I make it from scratch. So
Okay.
this last couple of years when we made it, we've used, cauliflower rice,
Hmm.
and I don't deep fry the chicken. I, grill it.
Oh, okay. That
I
works.
cut it, I cut it into pieces and grill the pieces rather
Hmm.
than deep fry it so that it's a little better for you. You don't get that, the oil and everything. So I mean, it's finding the foods that you like and finding better ways to eat. And I think that's the hardest part. Most people think, oh, diet. And it's such a horrible, nasty word that we've all
Hmm.
found it to hate. When really diet is just what you eat. If you look up the
Yeah.
definition of the word diet, what you eat is your diet.
Hmm.
No. Um, And that's what it is. It's just finding a healthy way to eat what you want. And I think that's what a lot of people miss. They're like, oh, I've got to eat, a salad 24/7. But then they eat a salad and they dump, 2 cups of ranch on it.
Ranch is a lot better than what they could dump on it.
Well,
But
that's
but
true.
yeah, I get your
But,
point.
and I've
The
seen that where I've had friends that are like, oh, I'm eating a salad. It's healthy. And I'm like, you pretty much just dumped like a cup of cheese and like 2 cups of ranch on it. You're basically eating ranch soup with some lettuce in it.
tasty.
Yeah. See, I like
Yeah.
blue cheese. I don't like ranch. I like blue cheese, but
I like both, but I like blue cheese better.
yeah.
The uh when I okay, so I'll when I did Houston, no, I did Fayetteville, excuse me. Hold on. Don, you can edit my coughs out. So when I did Fayetteville, and I think when I did Fayetteville, I went to Wendy's the morning of, both mornings, and I got a breakfast baconator without the Swiss cheese sauce because that's just gross. And then the breakfast potatoes, which is pretty much French fries anyway, and then a large unsweet iced tea, and that was my fuel for my race. And that's kind of my our tradition, if you will, up here has been okay, before a race, you go get a breakfast baconator and eat it, and then you go race.
Hmm.
Okay, cool. Still had plenty of energy, I was fine. This time, after I got this little health diagnosis, I went to Walmart because Walmart had just got open before, and I was only 10 minutes from the race venue anyway. In Colorado, I went to the Walmart because the only store that was open. I got 4 hard-boiled eggs, 2 packets of chopped up as a chopped up apple from Crunch Pack, which
Hmm.
is right up the road from me. It's nice to go clear across the country to see Crunch Pack in the store, and then a protein shake and a bottle of the sparkling ice, a couple bottles of sparkling ice, and then of course my water for my pack and stuff,
Yeah.
and a couple, I think 2 little bags of peanuts for the route, and then that was my fuel. And I got, we're talking a whole lot less calories, a whole lot less sugar and fat and garbage and whatever, and that was my fuel for the race. And then when I was out on the race, if I felt a little bit discharged, I eat some of those nuts or a little bit of keto trail mix or something, and I
Yeah.
felt fine. I felt like I can do this. And it was just a matter of like you said, finding that substitute, changing from I don't need 1,500 calories in a sandwich with you know 500 grams of sugar and carbohydrate crap, and I mean you need carbohydrates anyway, but like bad carbohydrates and fat and calories and whatnot. I can substitute that for something that's actually going to build me, like
Yeah.
eggs and meat and cheese and things like that. Um, but uh, by the time I get, like I said, by the time I get done with the super, I could have ate 4 baconators and still felt like crap. It was that freaking warm outside.
Oh yeah.
um, so it's all about a challenge about finding what works best for you, and like you said, finding those alternatives that give you what you crave, but yet aren't going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
You know, um, and I think that a lot of people just they get comfortable. This is my take on it. I could be wrong, but they get comfortable eating what they eat, and they don't want to change that. For those of you that heard me before, I love my dad. I would give anything to have my daddy back here.
Yeah.
But my father, all 125 pounds of him when he was well, ate like garbage.
Hmm.
And I firmly believe, well, he also smoked too, but I firmly believe that combining with his smoking and his vocation as a mechanic contributed to his stroke, his autoimmune encephalitis, his eventual Alzheimer's, and eventually his death.
Yeah.
Dad's favorite meal was going out to the Rock Island Cafe here in Rock Island, Washington, and getting chicken fried steak with a bunch of gravy and, et cetera, et cetera. Nothing wrong with that occasionally, but that's like when he would leave his shop, that's where he would go to eat. And I look at my life, and this especially hit me hard when Dad died, was I'm not going to be that way. Everybody thought he was the epitome of health because he was so small. No, his body was torn to heck.
Yeah.
Because he didn't take care of it. And it doesn't matter if you're 50 pounds overweight or you're at weight or you're underweight. You can still screw up your body and not take care of it. Like Yancey Culp says, that your body is this wonderful machine that you've got to take care of because you want to have the Jack LaLanne problem where you're 96 and you're still moving. Or well, he's dead now, but I mean, he lived a good ripe age. You want to be able to have the problem of or have the issue of being able to grow old and still being able to move and do things. Look at Paul LaChance, for example, from Spartan. The guy's
Yes.
what, 80, 83, 84 now, and he's still doing races. Like, holy cow, I want that problem.
Yeah.
So invest in yourself, take the time to actually look into your food, look into your diet, look into your food, your diet, whatever you want to call it. Look into what you can do to make it better. Don't be afraid to go to the doctor. Like I'm starting to get 2 physicals a year now. Once at the beginning, once in the middle, and I'm going to make sure that rhythm stays because I haven't had a physical since 2015.
Yeah.
Until I started this year, and I told my doctor this, and he's like, "It's about time." So, you know,
I'm bad
don't
about
be,
that.
yeah, don't be afraid to look into other alternative things to help you out, like this, like mushroom coffee. I hate coffee with a passion, no offense, but I've been drinking this mushroom coffee every morning, and it's gotten rid of my need to drink an energy drink because I don't need all that caffeine anymore.
Yeah.
It's helping with controlling different levels of stuff in my blood. Um, look for those alternative solutions as well. And the biggest thing is health starts in the kitchen, so get that problem fixed and then get your butt moving,
Mhm.
and then come run a race with us.
And it's one of those things. It does start in the kitchen, and that's been the
Mm-hmm.
hardest thing for me because I'm right now. I'll be honest. I train now more than I have in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Not as much as I did probably in 2020 when I had all the time, but I mean, I still do a mile at least every day.
Mm-hmm.
At work, by the time I leave work every day, because I'm walking to the job site constantly, I have usually 10 to 15,000 steps before I even leave the job site.
Dang.
And then I come home and run a mile at least. Like tomorrow, I'm going to go ruck probably 3 miles
Mm-hmm.
after work. And the Texas heat, we're talking like 4 o'clock in Texas. So I think last week when we did it, it was like 98 degrees when we were rucking. So this
That's a
is
bit.
so that's what I do on Wednesday nights after work. But then I come home and I have and it sounds so weird, and I know it's a video game, but I have my VR headset and I
Yep,
get on
I've
there
seen
and
that.
yeah, you were here when I was doing it one day.
Yep. Yep.
You would be shocked. Within
I
20
knew.
minutes, there's just sweat dripping off
Mm-hmm.
you because you're trying to
Well,
hit those targets, and it's insane.
and it's not like you're sitting there just playing a video game. For those of you that I mean, it's what a Quest, Meta Quest 3 or Meta Quest 2, or
Yeah, I
something
have
like
the
that.
MetaQuest 3.
So it's not something. It's a VR headset. He's got controllers in his hands.
Hmm.
He's off the couch. He's moving, and it's not like he's just playing a video game with working out his thumbs. I've seen this. I've seen it in person, and it's kind of cool to watch because I don't even know if you just saw me or heard me standing there or not. But I just watched you for a minute and like, yep, that's what he was talking about. And I've tried it myself. Of course, I get a little bit motion sick when I
Yeah,
see that. So I mean, people they think that to get in shape they got to go join a gym. It's like, no, just get off your butt and move.
yeah,
Whether you have a VR headset, whether you can go outside and pick up a stone and go rucking with it, or you can just go on a run or lift your kids for like it, or do something.
yeah.
Get off
And
your butt and move.
I usually go with the rocking group, on
Hmm.
Saturdays. Um, this last Saturday I had to work with a helicopter all day, so on
Oh,
Saturday.
fun.
So yeah, I got to watch a helicopter lift stuff on the roof for like 2 hours. and got paid for 8. So
That'll
yeah,
work.
yeah. So and overtime's
Nice.
like 70-something bucks an hour. So I'm like, cool. But
Overtime. What is this you speak of?
oh yeah, this is the first job I've had where I get hourly and overtime in like 20
Wow.
years. So, but
Okay.
but normally I go ruck with them. I did one. You would have loved this. We called it the gluttony ruck, and it was a go ruck thing.
Okay.
Where go ruck has things where you can get patches if you ruck to like a coffee shop, ruck to a donut
Yeah.
shop, a beer. What we did them all in one shot. So they called it a gluttony ruck. So we rucked first to the donut shop, then from the
oh,
donut shop to the coffee shop,
oh
from
my
the coffee
gosh.
shop to tacos,
Okay.
and then that was the halfway point, and then came back and hit a bar and got a beer and then got ice cream on the way back. And it ended up
So
being
what you
over
tell? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
it ended up being over 13 miles.
So what you're telling me is when I come down to Houston next time, I better my ruck is still sitting here with my 30-pound weight in it. I should bring my ruck with me.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna throw a ruck weight. You got an extra ruck weight in the back because I can't put that on an airplane.
Yeah, I have a total of 70 pounds. Not
Okay,
that I
that'll
carry
work.
that, but I have between like the combinations, I have 70 pounds that I can
Yeah,
swap in and out.
I know a little gosh, I forgot her name now, but Lisa Gonzalez is one of them, who are doing the death race here this weekend. And Yara for one, who's like 98 pounds soaking wet.
Oh yeah.
And she's going to be, rucking with, we'll say 70, 80 pounds on her. I'm like, I can't even think about doing that. Like that just
Yeah.
hurts me even considering that option.
Yeah.
But
Well, and like
anyway,
I said, the group that I rock with, we rock almost every weekend, and sometimes we call it he actually calls it hybrid running, because we rock and sometimes we run, just do running.
mhm,
Like what we did a couple weeks ago is where we run one of the places we rock and do everything. It's a 1 kilometer, which I don't know why they do have a 1 kilometer track here in Houston, but it's a one
that's
kilometer
weird.
track with a marker every tenth of a kilometer.
Oh, okay.
So what we did is we started off, ran to the first marker, ran back, did 10 burpees.
Hmm,
Ran to the second marker, ran back, did 10 burpees. Third marker, and back. Fourth, and did this all the way, like what do they call it, like suicides or lines or whatever
yeah,
in football. Basically the
yeah.
same idea, but we did it with the kilometer markers until we went all the way around and back.
Dang.
And it ended up being over 6K. Or I mean 10K. It was over 6 miles.
Oh my
We ended up
gosh.
doing over 6 miles doing this. But I mean, it was a great little workout. One of the guys only did half of it, but he did it with a rock instead
Sure.
of running it like we did. We've done ones where we did a 5K where we drug 80 pounds, and if you weren't
Hmm.
dragging, you carried a 40. We also had a rocks and dragging, and if you weren't one of the people dragging, you were carrying a sandbag.
Wow.
And then at the end of it, I did the very last 10, like tenth of a kilometer, pulling like everybody through the sandbags, everything on it. And I think I was dragging, it's like 180 pounds that I drug like tenth of a kilometer,
Yeah.
which, you know, is insane. But I
That's
mean, it's working different muscles, and that's one of the things I
hmm
love about it. It's different things to mix it up. We're having fun as a group. So
we
I'm
have to see if
happy
Go
I
Russ
kind
got
of,
something here.
you got to start that there. You got to get a group and get it started. I'll send you
I would
great ideas. I have a whole
I
list.
would love to know how to get a Go Ruck group started here. I think that would be cool.
I think you really just have to do it. You
Isn't
just
there
have to
some
find the
official?
people and do it or something. I don't know.
No, okay.
Because I know there's one of the ones that we do is an official group. The other one we're just having fun. But
Oh, I got you.
but that's also the one that you've seen on mine. I've got the little handles that I can
Yeah,
like lift mine
I got
up.
a pair of that too.
I love those things. So
You're the reason I got you and Adam were the reason I got those
yeah.
things.
Well, the guy who made the rock straps,
They're right there.
that's the guy who I do the hybrid running with on the weekends.
Nice.
So Juan
Well,
Carlos. So
we'll have to get him out to a Spartan race and he introduced me.
I almost had him in Austin, but he didn't go. So I'm gonna try
Shit.
and get him in Dallas because there's a bunch of us doing Dallas. So
Nice.
yeah.
Well, let me know how it goes to the Airbnb and I'll buy some steaks and come out and say hi.
Oh yeah, you'll definitely have to come out. It's gonna be good. I mean, it's gonna be an interesting year, and like I said,
Hmm.
it's gonna be interesting. 'Cause it's my first year in Texas, and then we'll
Hmm.
see what next year brings and how many races. Because I think I'm gonna try and hit more of the East Coast.
Right.
Because my goal is still I want to do at least a 5K in all 50 states.
That'd be cool.
And I'm thinking because I've looked at it, and if we take a certain route that's only gonna add about an hour, I can hit because I'm missing Nevada.
Hmm. Now
west of here.
you got me
So,
thinking on something, and I
so if
don't
I
know if
hit
I'll be able to.
Nevada on the way
Mhm.
back through, I can run a 5K in Nevada and get that state out of the way.
Do you want an official 5K or just run a
Uh,
5K?
Just a 5K. So what I did, like when we drove back down here in
Hmm.
September, I bought like five, I think it was five or six. It was six of the virtual like 5K
Hmm.
medals. And then we stopped in every state I hadn't run in, like Idaho,
Hmm.
Colorado, Utah. And I got out of the car and ran a 5K.
Wow.
One of them I did at a picnic stop where I was running around dodging like huge freaking like 6-inch grasshoppers while I was trying to run this. I think it was Oklahoma. No, that wasn't Oklahoma because Oklahoma I did it downtown Oklahoma, but because I ran from the hotel, it was New
Hmm.
Mexico, I think, where I was
Okay.
dodging the. But yeah, so when we drove down, I did six 5Ks on the drive down here.
Hmm. I might try that with the Route 66 trip.
Yeah, so I everywhere I would stop, jump out of the, stop somewhere in the car at a park, whatever. We'd find a park and I would just pull over and go run me a 5K. As soon as the watch said 5K, cool. Picture with the medal, get back in the car, and off we went.
Wow.
So I did, yeah, I hit all of them. The only one I'm missing west of here, basically, like I said, is um
Nevada.
Nevada.
Yeah. Well, now you got me something you have me thinking about something to add to my trip plan.
Well, because
Thanks for
there's so many.
that.
Because if you think about it, you think of how many ones do you already have? Because you already have Texas,
Right.
because you've done a Spartan in Texas. You have
Hmm.
Boston because you have, Massachusetts because you did
Florida,
Boston. You have
Washington, Oregon,
Florida,
California,
Washington. Yeah.
Nevada,
So,
technically. Um,
see, I don't have Nevada because I never did a Spartan in Nevada because every Vegas Spartan was in Arizona.
right.
So I
Oh,
counted
you're
those.
right. It wouldn't actually. You're right. I wouldn't have Nevada either
See,
because
that's why I don't have Nevada because they were all in Arizona.
yeah, that's so stupid.
Yeah.
Now they're actually no. I do have Nevada because I ran in Henderson when they moved
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have Arizona. Don't have Utah yet. No New Mexico. Um,
See, like I
got
said, I hit all those
Montana.
because I just stopped
Yeah.
as we were driving through.
Was that the Battle Miles or whatnot medals you bought?
I have some of those just because I did a bunch of those, but no, they were
Yeah.
just random. I bought them. They were like, I can't remember what it was. It was like virtual medals, I think is what it's called. And I just grabbed some random, and they were clearance ones too from like 2 years ago. Then I'm just like, they were like dinosaurs or something. I think I paid $5 a piece for them.
Nice. Well, I'll see what for me it's gonna. Of course, I have to get exercise in, like we talked about during
Eh,
the trip. But
there's
the
your exercise.
yeah, well, I've got to get weight training in too, so that's my TRX is for that. But now you got me having a great idea. We'll see how that works on
See?
the trip wrap up episode when I come back.
Yeah. And like I said, when we're right back in next month, I think we're either going to do that because I want to do the rock and roll in Vegas, but I
Hmm.
think it's always the same weekend as something else I do.
Okay,
So I got to figure out what that was. I think last
that's
year it was
the
like,
rock and roll marathon, right?
yeah, I can't remember why I think it was the same weekend as uh the Galveston Ironman.
I'm looking at it right now. Give me a second.
No, no, it's February.
Is it
Yeah. Last year it was, what did a race did I do in February? I
February 22 and 23, 2025?
was trying to remember what race it was. Maybe was that Houston? No,
Mm,
I don't remember. But hmm.
cool.
Well, maybe I'll do that next year just because I want to go to Vegas anyway.
There you go.
And
I was
I
cons-
can't do more than 2 days in Vegas. Any more than 2 days in Vegas, and I'm like, okay, I
I
gotta go.
I was considering like because I'm stopping in Kingman, Arizona, at one of the KOAs there or
Hmm.
the KOA there, and I'll spend the night there before I start getting into California. And I considered doing the 80-mile trip from Kingman to Vegas, but I'm like, I don't want to ride down the strip. Maybe I do. We'll see what happens when I get there. But I've seen the traffic in Vegas, and I really don't think I want to do that just to say I've done it. But
See, I thought about I want to do Hoover Dam, but Hoover Dam's in Arizona, isn't it?
uh, Hoover Dam is on the border between Arizona and Vegas, or
Yeah,
between Arizona and Nevada. So
because
when you're,
I did one year when we did the Vegas race. We went into the Hoover Dam and
mhm,
went to the Grand Canyon, and on the way back, I did run a 5K, and I think it was on the Nevada side because there's like five. 5 tunnels
Mhm.
back behind there. If you start at the dam and run to like the whatever resort that is that's right there, it's like a 5K.
Yeah.
And you hit like 3 or 4 tunnels along the way.
As long as you're in the one side of Hoover Dam, because it splits right there in the middle between Arizona and Nevada, then you probably ran a 5K in Nevada.
Yeah, but I didn't have it's one of those things I didn't have a medal. Like I did one in
Mhm.
Louisiana not too long ago, but I didn't count it because I didn't have a medal to grab.
Mhm.
It's like if I didn't have the medal, and I know it's weird. I make my own, make up my own rules as I go, but
That's all
whatever.
right. Uh-huh.
So,
All right. Well, hey, I got to run to the gym, man. But
all
you,
right. Well, you
good
get out of here,
talking to
go
you,
to
and
the gym.
I will see you in about 4 weeks. Well, not see
Yeah,
you personally, but like we'll do a wrap up episode when I get back,
we'll
let you know
have
how it
to.
goes.
Yeah. Well, you have to
And
reach out to me too when you're on your way driving back, because maybe we'll cross.
sure,
Because I drive back the 12th. We
that's
leave.
about that's about the time roughly I'll start heading down Route 66. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
possible.
because the 12th we're heading out of Washington, starting to head here. So 12th,
Mhm.
13th. I think something like that. Maybe it might be the 13th.
Okay.
Whatever.
We'll
But
just figure it out, and I'll be all
yeah,
my
we'll
stuff will be
talk.
posted on social media too, and you know how to get a hold of me
Oh
personally.
yeah.
So
Perfect.
cool. All right,
All right,
brother.
we'll talk
Bye.
soon.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.